Have you ever noticed how many men over the age of 50 start new relationships not because they truly want a partner, but because they are afraid of being lonely? It is a quiet fear that people rarely talk about, especially among men at this time of life. Before we go any further, please hit the like button. It helps this message reach other men who really need to hear it. Also, let me know in the comments if you think men over 50 should date just for fun or look for something serious, and tell me why. Now, let's get into today's topic, which is a very powerful one. We are looking at 5 reasons to avoid having a girlfriend in your 50s and 60s through the lens of modern stoicism. Before you think this is about being bitter or choosing to be alone out of anger, let me be very clear. This is about strength. This is about having a clear mind. This is about being emotionally independent. It is about spotting the traps that older men often fall into without even knowing it. These are traps that slowly take away your energy, ruin your peace, and dull your masculine edge. Let's start with a basic truth. The enemy here is not women. The real enemy is getting attached without thinking. It is the habit many men over 50 fall into, where they lower their standards and ignore their boundaries just because they are happy to get some attention. It is a hunger for feeling valued after a divorce, a long time being alone, or years of feeling like no one sees them. It is the wrong belief that a girlfriend will fix a hole in your life that only discipline, goal setting, and self-respect can truly heal. Stoicism gives us a strong rule. Never tie your happiness to things you cannot control. And let's be honest, a girlfriend is exactly that, something you cannot fully control. So let's look at the reasons, starting with the first 3. These apply to many men in places like the US, UK, Canada, and Australia who hit their 50s and 60s and suddenly feel like they have to settle down again. The first reason is this: most women your age are not actually looking for love, they are looking for stability. This is not meant to be an insult, it is just the way things are. Stoicism teaches us to look at reality, not run away from it. When you are a man in your 50s or 60s, you finally have things that younger men do not have yet. You have stability, life experience, a calm mind, a strong presence, and a good handle on money. Women, especially those in your age group, see this right away. But here is the tough truth. Many are not interested in you because of who you are. Deep down, they are interested in what you can provide for them. Many men over 50 mistake this attention for real desire. Here is the Stoic lesson. Attraction based on how useful you are falls apart the moment you are no longer useful. Think of it this way. If you buy a boat, suddenly everyone wants to hang out with you. Are they there for you, or are they there for the boat? Older men often become the boat without realizing it. I have worked with many men who started relationships believing she really cared about them as a person, only to find out months later that they are paying for everything, fixing every emotional problem, changing their daily habits, and getting very little back. This is not about being mean or having bad intentions. It is just human nature, but it becomes dangerous when you walk into it without knowing. The second reason is that you will lose your freedom much faster than you think. Men in their 50s and 60s finally get to a point where life feels lighter. You have made it through heartbreaks, work stress, raising kids, family fights, and health scares. You have earned your peace. You have earned your quiet mornings. You have earned the right to say no without feeling bad. But the moment you start a serious relationship, things change. You trade your freedom for company. Very often, the company is not worth the freedom you give up. You start changing your schedule, doing your hobbies less, dealing with someone else's feelings, and making your world smaller just to keep things calm. Stoicism teaches us to protect our inner strength. Your peace is not something you should give away. Your time is valuable. Your energy decides the quality of your whole life. Yet many older men give all of this away within just a few months of getting a girlfriend. Imagine a man who retires and is finally ready to travel, work out, read, and start a new chapter. He meets a woman and suddenly his trips are put off. His gym habits stop and his weekends are all about her plans. He starts carrying her stress, her family issues, and her expectations. His inner peace is not taken by an enemy, but by his own lack of rules for himself. The third reason is that emotional work slowly moves onto your shoulders. This is where many men miss the real cost of relationships at this age. Women after 50 often carry a lot of emotional weight from the past, like old heartbreaks, divorces, bad feelings, problems with grown children, money worries, and health issues. You become the emotional anchor. You become the solid ground she stands on. You become the one who listens, fixes things, and provides comfort. This does not make her a bad person, but it shows a truth. When you carry someone else's emotional load, you have less room for your own growth. Older men forget how tiring this can be. When you are 25, you have the energy to handle emotional storms. At 55 or 60, that energy is better used to protect your health and your peace. The relationship becomes a weight instead of a support. Stoicism teaches that a man must manage his own feelings. Yet, many older men find themselves trying to fix someone else's mess instead. And when you are always managing another person's emotions, you slowly disappear. Your needs move to the back. Your goals are no longer the priority. You trade taking care of yourself for taking care of someone else. And it happens very slowly without any warning. The fourth reason is that relationships after 50 often turn you into a caretaker. This is a truth many men are afraid to say out loud. A girlfriend at this age can easily become another duty instead of a real partner. It doesn't always happen, but it happens often enough that you should be careful. Women over 50 face real struggles like changes in health, stress, money worries, aging parents, and grown children who still need help. And who steps in to help with all of it? You do. Not because you plan to, but because you are stable, calm, and reliable. When you are that kind of man, you take it all on. Stoicism warns us not to carry weights that do not belong to us. But in later life, those lines get blurry fast. You start changing your life. You give up your peace. You cancel your own plans to help her family. You become the driver, the person who plans everything, and the one who fixes every problem. You wanted a partner, but suddenly you are responsible for keeping another person's life together. I have seen this happen over and over. A man in his 60s meets a woman who seems fun and easygoing. A few months later, she is dealing with doctor visits, problems with her kids, or stress from the past. You carry it because you care and because you don't want to seem selfish. But here is the hard truth. When you take on roles you never asked for, you slowly lose the man you spent years becoming. You become responsible for a life that is not yours. And once that starts, it almost never stops. The fifth reason is that you risk losing the most powerful time of your life. This might be the most important point. Men between 50 and 70 enter a very special stage. You are wiser, calmer, and more confident without having to say much. This is your time to start fresh. But the moment you tie yourself to a girlfriend who does not match your speed or your values, that fresh start can fade. Relationships require you to give things up, and that can be the enemy of your personal growth. You worked your whole life to get to this point. Your mornings belong to you. Your money is stable. You know yourself better. You know what makes you weak and what makes you strong. Yet, once they commit, many men fall into the same old trap. They put her needs first. They change their habits to avoid fights. They limit their freedom. They stay quiet to keep things peaceful. They make their world smaller to fit the relationship. Slowly, their own growth stops. Their fresh start becomes smaller than it was supposed to be. Stoicism teaches that your purpose must be the center of your life, not romance or approval. Yet many men over 50 get so excited by attention that they push their own mission aside. They stop building and exploring. They mistake being comfortable for being happy. Over time, they realize their days are busy, but they feel trapped. This message is not telling you to never love again. It is reminding you that at this age, your peace is worth everything. Your energy is not endless. Your time matters more than ever. Be very careful about where you spend it. A relationship can bring warmth, but it can also slowly put out the fire you spent decades building. The cost is not just about feelings, it is about your spirit and your energy. It is the cost of becoming a smaller version of yourself just to keep someone else happy. You must ask yourself if that price is worth paying. Make this very clear in your mind. This is not about avoiding women or connection. It is about never starting a relationship because you feel weak, lonely, or afraid. Only enter a relationship from a place of strength and self-respect. A stoic man chooses carefully. He does not chase people. He does not beg for love. He does not make himself smaller. He looks at things calmly. He waits. He decides based on clear thinking, not because he is hungry for affection. The true stoic way is not about saying no to all relationships. It is about saying no to any relationship that costs you your peace, your goal, or your freedom. If you choose to have a woman in your life, let it be because she truly adds something good to your world, not because she is filling an empty spot inside you. Emptiness should be fixed through your own growth and purpose, not through another person. You might ask what a man over 50 or 60 should do instead. The answer is simple, but it takes self-control. Always put your purpose first. Your work, your hobbies, or whatever gives your life meaning must stay the most important thing. It is the core of who you are. Without it, everything else is shaky. Value your peace more than just having someone around. A calm home is worth more than a relationship full of stress and noise. Choose peace every time, even if it means being by yourself for a while. If you decide to date, do it in a way that is honest and careful. If you enjoy being around women, enjoy it without giving up your freedom. Be honest about what you want. Do not promise things you cannot keep doing. Keep strong boundaries. Help out when it feels right, but do not take on someone else's emotional baggage. Be there, but do not carry weights that are not yours. Protect your new beginning. This part of life is powerful, and you earned it. Do not let anyone distract you from it. A man who stands strong after 50 is someone people naturally respect. People are drawn to him not because he is trying to impress them, but because he is solid within himself. Many men over 50 do not realize how fast their identity can change when they start a relationship without being careful. At this age, you know who you are. You have lived through hard times and learned lessons that made you a wiser person. But if your boundaries get too soft and your choices start to revolve around someone else's moods, you risk losing that man you worked so hard to become. This doesn't happen all at once. It starts with small changes. You skip your morning routine, you miss a workout, you stop doing the things that keep you grounded, you stay silent just to keep things easy. Each choice seems small, but they add up. Slowly, you build your life around someone else instead of your own values. At this age, the danger is bigger because you have less energy to waste. Younger men can bounce back faster. Older men pay a higher price. Stress hurts your health more. Emotional weight tires you out faster. And losing your freedom hurts more because it took so long to get. Stoicism shows us something very important. A man must know what is his job and what is not. Many older men start relationships wanting to help and be a good person. These are good traits, but without being careful, they can become a trap. Slowly, they stop growing and stop exploring new things. The irony is that the more they give up who they are, the less attractive they become. Women are not drawn to a man who loses himself. They want a man who is solid and knows where he is going. This is why many relationships for men over 50 feel like they take energy instead of giving it. They start with hope, but no rules. They want a connection, but forget that connection cannot replace having a purpose. When a man reaches this age, the best thing he can do is stay focused. This doesn't mean being cold or distant. It means staying connected to your own goals and peace. When you live this way, the right person doesn't drain you. She fits into your life easily. The wrong person will leave because she cannot pull a strong man off his path. This is the real message. A relationship itself doesn't ruin a man, but a relationship started from a place of weakness or fear does. A relationship without a goal does. But a relationship started from strength is different. It is a plus, not a replacement. It is a partnership, not a burden. The older a man gets, the more important this is. This is why Stoicism makes so much sense for men at this stage. It teaches them to stand tall in their own world. It teaches them to judge things without getting emotional. It teaches them that not every person you meet deserves your commitment. Most men over 50 have spent their lives putting others first. They have looked after partners, kids, and jobs for years. For many, this is the first time they are truly free to live for themselves. Yet, this is often when they rush into a relationship because they are scared of being alone. But being alone at this age is a gift. It is a chance to find out who you really are without any pressure. You are free to design a life that fits your values. Many men find new hobbies during these years. They travel, get healthy, start businesses, or find peace. These changes happen because they aren't tied down by someone else's needs. When a man stays focused on his goals, he becomes picky. He doesn't just give his time or energy away to anyone. This protects his growth. It makes sure that if a woman joins his life, she is joining a life that is already great, not a life that needs saving. Men often don't realize how attractive they become when they live this way. People are drawn to quiet power. And that power only shows up when a man refuses to lose himself. The truth is, for a man over 50, the biggest danger is not being single. The biggest danger is giving away the peace you spent your life earning. Relationships are not the problem. Losing yourself is. Unless you enter a relationship with a clear mind and strong rules, you will just repeat the same tiring patterns. The older you get, the more your life is yours to protect. Your time is worth more, and your peace is the most important thing you have. This is why men who understand this move into a new kind of strength. They are steady, calm, and completely free. In the end, having a girlfriend isn't the issue. The issue is doing it without thinking about the cost. A stoic man knows that freedom is worth everything. Peace is a priority. Purpose is the main goal. Protect these things. If a woman makes these things better, let her in. If she makes them weaker, walk away. The man you are becoming is much more valuable than the comfort of a relationship. If this message helped you, comment "I choose peace" so I know you understand. And please like the video so more men can see this and protect what really matters. Beyond the points we have already discussed, there is a deeper layer to this stage of life that most men overlook. When you reach your 50s and 60s, you are entering what should be your most respected years. You have moved past the chaos of youth and the heavy building phase of middle age. This is the time when you should be the master of your own environment. However, many men trade this mastery for the sake of having someone to sit at the dinner table with. They do not realize that by inviting a permanent partner into their space without strict boundaries, they are often inviting a manager into their life. They go from being the king of their own castle to being a person who has to ask for permission or explain their choices. This shift happens so quietly that you might not notice it until your energy feels heavy and your motivation starts to dip. True masculine power at this age comes from being comfortable in the silence of your own home. It comes from the ability to sit alone with your thoughts and not feel the need to be rescued by a phone call or a conversation. When you master your own company, you become a high-value man because you are no longer a victim of your own needs. You are no longer looking for a woman to provide you with a sense of worth or a reason to get out of bed. You provide that for yourself. This makes you different from the majority of men who are chasing after companionship out of a sense of lack. A man who does not need anyone is the only man who can truly choose someone for the right reasons. Think about the legacy you want to leave and the examples you want to set for younger men in your life. Do you want to be seen as the man who spent his later years stressed out by someone else's drama, or the man who stood as a pillar of calm and wisdom? Stoicism is about choosing the path that leads to the highest version of yourself. Often, that path is much easier to walk when you are not tethered to someone else's expectations or emotional instability. Your 50s and 60s are a time for your own personal excellence. Use this time to sharpen your mind, strengthen your body, and deepen your connection to your purpose. If a relationship naturally fits into that without taking away your light, then it is a blessing. If it requires you to dim your light to make someone else feel comfortable, then it is a distraction you cannot afford. Keep your focus on your mission. Stay grounded in your truth and never settle for a life that is smaller than the one you have earned. Another important thing to think about is the financial and legal risk that comes with relationships at this stage of life. By the time you reach 50 or 60, you have worked for decades to build your savings, your home, and your retirement. You have traded your time and your hard work for this security. When you enter a serious relationship or move in with a girlfriend, you are essentially opening the door to your life's work. In many places, the laws regarding long-term partners can put your assets at risk even if you never get married. Stoicism teaches us to be wise stewards of what we have. It is not about being greedy. It is about respecting the effort you put in to create a stable life. Giving away half of what you own because a relationship didn't work out is a setback that is much harder to recover from at 60 than it was at 30. You must also consider the social cost of a new relationship. Many men find that when they get a girlfriend, their world begins to revolve around her social circle, her friends, and her family events. Slowly, you may find yourself spending less time with your own lifelong friends, your children, or your siblings. Your time is redirected to fulfill her social obligations and attend events that don't truly interest you. This is a subtle way of losing your connection to the people who have been with you through thick and thin. A man's strength is often found in his brotherhood and his family roots. When you allow a new relationship to become your entire social world, you become isolated from the very people who keep you grounded and remind you of who you really are. Finally, remember that the most important relationship you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. For years, you may have been a husband, a father, or a boss. You have lived for everyone else. Now you have the rare chance to just be a man, to explore your own interests, to travel where you want, and to live exactly how you choose. This is a period of total self-discovery that many people never get to experience. Do not be in such a hurry to fill your time with someone else that you miss the chance to finally get to know yourself. Your peace, your health, and your growth are the best investments you can make right now. Stay strong, keep your boundaries high, and always remember that you are the captain of your own soul. One major thing many men overlook is the loss of their personal space and daily rhythm. After 50, you have likely created a home environment that suits you perfectly. Your furniture is where you want it, your kitchen is organized your way, and your house has a specific energy of calm. When a girlfriend enters the picture, that space often starts to change. Little by little, her belongings, her tastes, and her way of doing things begin to take over. Stoicism reminds us that our environment affects our peace of mind. If your home goes from being a place of rest to a place where you have to negotiate every small detail, your mental health will pay the price. Guarding your living space is not about being selfish. It is about keeping a place where you can truly be yourself without pressure. You should also look closely at the physical toll of high-stress relationships at this age. Science tells us that emotional stress leads to physical issues like high blood pressure, sleep problems, and a weaker immune system. At 25, your body can handle the lack of sleep and the tension of an argument. At 60, these things hit you much harder and stay with you longer. When you choose to stay single or keep things very casual, you are choosing your health. You are choosing to keep your cortisol levels low and your heart healthy. A man who is constantly managing a partner's drama is a man who is aging faster than he needs to. By putting your well-being first, you ensure that you have the energy to enjoy the hobbies and physical activities that keep you feeling young. Lastly, think about the freedom of your schedule. This is a time in your life where you should be able to wake up and decide what to do with your day without checking with anyone else. If you want to spend the whole day reading or drive to a different city on a whim or spend hours on a project in the garage, you can. The moment you are in a committed relationship, that me time becomes we time. You start to feel a subtle pressure to be available, to check in, and to coordinate your life around someone else's needs. This takes away the spontaneous joy of being a free man. Your time is the one thing you can never get back. Use it to build your legacy, to learn new skills, and to live a life of meaning on your own terms. True happiness comes from within, and no relationship can give you the satisfaction that comes from mastering your own life and enjoying your hard earned freedom. Let's also talk about